Good morning. My name is Jeff Chancellor. I'm a principal systems engineer for Software AG Government Solutions. And today I'd like to talk to you and present some capabilities and solutions for enterprise portfolio management. Software AG Government Solutions is headquartered in Herndon, Virginia, and we are our wholly owned subsidiary of a $1 billion parent dedicated to serving the U.S. public sector. With our experienced team of cleared U.S. citizens, we have over 30 years of public sector support for federal civilian, DoD and supply chain, state, local, and higher education. We help organizations connect their data to just about everything. In fact, we have and give you the freedom to capture portfolio and solution data from silos using our Alphabet platform to help you make optimum decisions for business transformation. We have world-class leading technology, best-in-class web methods integration platform that allows you to securely and seamlessly connect and integrate applications, the Internet of Things, multi-clouds, and data. With over 50 years of success and $1 billion in revenue, we are a profitable and growing company. We are recognized by the analysts as leaders in 15 market sectors. And we are trusted by 70% of the Global 1000 with our experienced team here in Government Solutions with over 150 government and aerospace customers from the capital region throughout the United States. You've probably used our solutions if you've ever bought a cup of Starbucks coffee, and every April when you file your taxes, if you've ever been submitted for a background check, if you've bought a television or a product from Best Buy, or withdrawn money from an ATM at Bank of America. These companies process millions of transactions per month and reliably using our software solutions. So, did you know that Software AG is a top-ranked leader in these 8 market sectors, according to Forrester, Mock Nation, and Gartner? In today's discussion, we're going to talk about enterprise architecture tools and integrated IT portfolio analysis. In fact, did you know that Software AG is authorized as a FedRAMP moderate service for integrated portfolio analysis and enterprise architecture tools? Together, these two capabilities form our FedRAMP business transformation service. The key topics for today and what I've heard over the last several months that are the hot topics is how do you do rationalization of your application portfolio in the context of the federal government? So most of you have some sort of plan that you're looking at that is, how many applications do you have now? And there's probably some directive for reducing the number of applications. So we'll take a look at an overview of the Federal Application Rationalization Playbook and Alphabet. In this playbook, we'll address opportunities for increasing efficiency and accuracy of the data that you need to make great rationalization decisions. We'll walk through the phases and activities of a couple of different ways to do application rationalization. And we'll look through alternative paths through the process. We'll conclude with a demo and then get some closing comments and feedback. If you've seen any application rationalization processes, what you'll notice is that it represents a flexible sequence of essential activities for better outcomes when you're trying to decide which applications to keep, which applications to consolidate, and which applications to move forward with your portfolio. This first chart shows the Federal Application Rationalization process as published by GSA. It's a 6-phase continuous process that starts with identifying your needs and then finishing with your evaluations of how you've conducted your rationalization activities. So it's not any surprise if we look down at the DoD process with phases, it's again a 6-step rationalization process. Starts out with your inventory, work us around the circle to collecting various types of data necessary to make good rationalization decisions. And with our Alphabet platform, we have been doing application rationalization and portfolio governance for years. We've typically used a 5-cycle process. but the essential activities are the same. So let's dive in and see what we need to do to make our rationalization activities better. First of all, we need to know that rationalization is driven by business questions. And what we have done with our accelerator configurations for our Alphabet platform is organize a set of common business questions that we have gleaned from our global customer base with Alphabet. It seems that every executives are asked the same types of questions. And so we have taken that feedback from those executives and aligned the questions to the different app architecture portfolios. In this particular demonstration today, we're going to look at the application portfolio. And we're going to look at the common questions that we hear there. But it's not enough just to have questions that are there. It's important to know that these questions also identify the data sources that are necessary to provide the data to answer the questions. So not only is there a question that you can see in a summary view, you can also drill down through it to see the data that makes up the answers to the questions, such as, where do we have functional redundancies? What are our investment and retirement candidates? What is the status of our rationalization plan? Let's continue on. One of the first things we look at for improving efficiency and accuracy of the data is to define the measurements of what data completeness means. And data completeness is just simply a set of criteria that you are defining for your organization that makes sure that you have the right data and the right assessments and scoring mechanisms to determine which applications to keep, which to move forward. So you'll look here, and in this particular graphic, we see that our average data completeness across an organization is 59%. Well, that's not such a good number, but let's look and see what the completeness criteria are. We have divided a set of activities and steps for scoring and defining your applications we need the name, the version, the start date in step one. We need some information about the architecture type, the development type, and maybe your security authentication mechanism. We also need some governance related criteria, such as who is the owner and the IT owner for this application. We'll look at some sort of assessment criteria, such as how many users typically use an application and so forth. So when we have these criteria that are set up by the organization, what we can do is automate the calculation of the data completeness score. These completeness scores help us understand for each and every application that we have, what is their data completeness score and the average across the enterprise. The second thing we want to introduce is key automation. And just remember, key automation that's effective and efficient is like adding staff to your team, because what that automation does is provide momentum and provide energy and inertia to move things forward. We have three types of automation within our Alphabet platform. First of all, we have workflows to keep the portfolios and the decisions moving ahead. Workflows are something like register new application. So for example, you want to bring on a new application, you'll need to register that, vote on that, and approve it to bring it into the portfolio. We also might have a workflow for approving new technology, especially if we are replacing aging and legacy technologies. We'll also need a workflow for retiring an application after it's been decided that this is one of our retirement candidates. There's a workflow that takes you through the steps for actually retiring it, sunsetting it, and moving it out of the production environment. We also use automation such as monitors, such that we can inform application managers when things are due for them to complete. We have three types of monitors. One is a date monitor that reminds the teams about annual reviews upcoming. We have activity monitors that inform teams about changes that have been made to their applications. So you can see the most recent changes made in the last 6 months up to the last 30 days. As just as important as activity monitors, we have inactivity monitors. And this is your indication that data has not changed and it may be going stale. So these monitors can inform the application manager that data has not been changed and therefore they need to take action on this. And finally, we have calculations and integrations to maintain scoring accuracy of our application portfolios. And these routines basically eliminate the human interaction required to bring data into the database. And we don't need to go out and do data calls anymore on Excel spreadsheets where we have to consolidate and reduce the conflicts as we're doing so. So good automation is like adding staff. Just remember that you can do more with better and key and effective automation. All right, we're ready to go. So it's ready, set, rationalize. And what we need to know is that our organization has a policy that has established the data completeness criteria, and it's the application manager's responsibility to score the applications that they're assigned for their responsibility. And the goal is actually 100%. Now, very few organizations have applications completeness with 100% scores just because some of that data may be missing or hard to locate. But that's the goal, so let's continue. What I'm going to do now is actually start up the Alphabet application and show you how we can address supporting the application rationalization process. I'm going to switch over to a running application, and I'm going to see that here I am, I'm logged in. I can look at the different areas that are in my access control, and I can see the different pages that lets me look into the technology portfolio, the information portfolio, the application portfolio, and let's just stay here for just a minute. So you'll see the representation of the questions presented in a tile. And in these tiles, say, what's our application portfolio? Well, this is the data completeness score across all applications. And when we click on this question, what we're actually taken to is a different screen that shows us the completeness scores. Here is the master report showing all of our applications. And you'll notice that we have 398 applications in our portfolio. What we see is that we are collecting a lot of data through me scrolling through the columns and showing you, what is our cloud migration strategy for every application? Is this a strategic application? What is the recommendation for moving it forward? And we see an invest decision here as a recommendation. We also look at the different life cycle phases and the dates in a tabular format. We look at who the owners are from a person standpoint and an organization standpoint. We look at supported capabilities, supported processes. We look at the technology makeup of what kind of components that the application is built on. And then as we scroll further, we look at the servers where these applications are deployed, and we look at the upstream and downstream applications to other applications. You realize, of course, this is information gleaned from the enterprise, such as getting server information from the CMDB. So what I can do is start looking at these rationalization activities. I'm going to go to my home screen here, and then I'm going to actually start a storyboard that shows me the application rationalization process. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to bring these applications, make this a little bit easier to see. Let's zoom in just a couple of areas. And what you'll see is that I have the DoD application rationalization playbook process shown here as a graphic. And in each step, there's a set of activities that are done. And so one of the first things that I can do is, look at the inventory step and put a quick link to that particular landscape. So if I click this bookmark here, what I'm going to be doing is taken back to that application master report. And then what I'm going to also see is how my applications are aligned to my business capability model. And in this particular view, what you're seeing are high-level capabilities as the larger boxes and the leaf-level business capabilities as a smaller box. And every application that is categorized and governed by its primary function of corporate planning. And in this particular view, I'm seeing that I've got 14 applications that are sitting in and supporting corporate planning activities. I also see that the applications have colors and they have a decoration on top of them. Every time that you look at an application like this or a view like this in Alphabet, it will generate a legend that explains what the colors mean and what the decoration or the icon means. In this particular case, the color rule is based on technical obsolescence. So the items that are in the red color have components or technologies that are about to expire or already expired, and they no longer receive some support from their vendors. The applications that are with the dark blue borders, there is no conflict of any technology going out of support in the next 24 months. So the blue colored applications are the ones that are in pretty good health from a technical perspective. And then the second thing that we're seeing with the decoration, the symbol, is the number of users. And the legend explains to us that the XL icon represents that over 10,000 users are using this application. A lot of times, if we see departmental type applications, we'll see it down here in the 11 to 100 or the 100 to 1,000 type of user groups, completely configurable according to your specific needs. And then again, I can always check it and check to see, show me the recommendation as well as the number of users and update that. And so this now brings on a different color rule that is akin to the Gartner time matrix. So what we'll see here is the colors have changed. We'll ask Alphabet to show the legend again, and we'll see the tolerate, invest, migrate, or eliminate quadrant, so familiar from Gartner. So the items that are in the gray color represent a decision or a recommendation. Tolerate them at least for the next year or the planning cycle, and then we can figure out what to do the next time. The items that are in the green, those are the ones that we want to spend our budget on and make sure that we're continuing to improve and enhance these applications. Those items that are in the red or the orange color are recommendations for elimination. So now I can go back into the actual process board and I can look at, for example, what are the demands that are driving us for rationalizing so that we can change our business models and so forth. And what you'll see is that in Alphabet, there's a set of demands, and a demand is nothing more than a request for change from the current landscape. Those changes can be as simple as a technology upgrade to as encompassing as I want to implement a new digital strategy that lets our customers interact better and faster with our agency. And what we have done is we have seen and categorized all of the demands and presented them on a Kanban board. So look at the new demands. Here are all the new demands that are coming in. Here's the demands that are in design. Here's the demands that are under assessment. Here's that are in flight. These are the demands that have been completed. And we also have the rejected area as well. Alphabet also lets me look down and drill down into the different types of demands. And you can see I've got 119 demands in total. Many of them are high, some of them are critical, and even more, we have mandatory demands that there's no questions asked, we're going to do these. That's very helpful in helping you understand your rationalization activities. As we move around the wheel, what we'll see also, what is the completeness data for our applications. So we will ask Alphabet to show us what our data completeness scores are for all of our applications in our portfolio. Now, remember that we started out with 58, 59% across the board is our accuracy score. But what we have is 314 applications that are considered active business applications, and they are arranged in a report in a color code with the brightest green representing 90 and above is your data completeness score. We only have 2 highly scored and highly complete applications in this portfolio. And as we scroll down through the list of applications, you'll see that we have gradients every 10 points for color change. The deeper the color, now we are tuning toward items in the scores are in the 60s. As we scroll through the different pages, in our last page, you'll see that the bright red are under 20. And then we have variants in various forms from 27% complete to 36% complete. And then we can look at all pages in between and all applications in between. So this is a great way to identify very quickly. We can export these to a PowerPoint. We can send them out to an Excel file. We can generate a PDF for these. We can take this data to a meeting and we can put it on the table and have a very meaningful discussion about we need to improve the data completeness scores for a set of applications. As we go back and we start moving around the wheel, one of the things that we'll look at, where do we have overlaps and redundancies? As a key component of Alphabet, what we are able to do is to identify and put applications into a group for analysis purposes, where we can look at the Gartner recommendations, contrast the business score of an application against its technical score, and see where it fits into the application quadrants. We can look at the total cost of applications here, and then we can look at the life cycles of the applications that are in the group, along with the current people in specific responsibilities for that application. But this was about understanding the overlap score. I'm going to navigate down to an individual application, and as we drill down into this particular application, we're seeing its completeness score. This is a 91% complete, so it's pretty well done from an accuracy standpoint. We're looking at the evaluation, the responsibilities of this application, what other application it's interacting with, operational expenses, and we're looking at its data completeness summary. And the only thing keeping this from 100% is having the accurate cost information. But what we also want to look at is, what are the other applications that are functionally similar to this application that we're on, CRM CSS. And in Alphabet, we need to capture the data that talks about what is this application used for, what capabilities are provided, which organizations use the application. You'll see that in a couple of different graphs. But what we go down to even further is we look at the business processes that are supported, and then we come into this functional similarity analysis. If we open this particular view, what we'll see is that CRM CSS has got 100% overlap with CRM Opti Retail because it supports the same capabilities and is provided by both applications. So what we see is that we are highly redundant in this area. We see 100% redundancy, 75% overlap, and then down at 50% overlap, down to 25% overlap. So those items that are indeed 100% overlaps, we need to figure out how do we consolidate to the desired target state application. This type of analysis requires additional data, and so it might be hard to find, but once you get it into Alphabet, it's there and it can be improved every year that you go through your application rationalization process. Again, you have to be down at an application level to see the applications that are functionally similar. The other thing that we'd look at is, what is our application budget? And in Alphabet, we have that perspective to see. We have a bucket that's called general support. So we're looking at these things to see, how much money do we have to spend? What are our projects that we're going to conduct? And then, how much money do we actually start looking at spending year over year from what our received costs were and what our total costs are? And so with this, we can look at the prioritization. We're looking at architectural impact, contrasted to business value, contracted to project risk. Alphabet will uh, recommend a sequence order for doing the projects. And then we can also override any manual projects that are most important that we need to take care of. As we look through the applications, one of the things we see is score and assess the applications. And what we're looking at now is how do applications get scored from a business score? And business scores are made up of business relevance, the number of users using the application, are the owners defined for who is responsible for this application, how many capabilities are provided by the application, and then how many organizations are using it. And when you add up all of the specific indicators, you get the prioritization score of how important this application is in the whole scheme of things. And so you can sort this and you can see which applications are the highest rated for business score. And then you can also switch to technical score and then see the technical health ratings there. So Alphabet has a lot of capability that is there for doing the assessments for that. And then we look at the, again, as a sort of another look at our rationalization plan. What we want to see is, how are we doing over time? And we can look at, as of today, or last summer, we had 200 applications that were here. Our target by another year gone by is to reduce that by 25% or 20%. And then we can look at further down, what is the amount of money that we retired by moving those applications out of the portfolio, so we can actually now start calculating the return on the rationalization activities to simplify our application landscape. What I'd like to do now is switch back into the PowerPoint and say that we have provided you some samples about how application supports rationalization activities. What we want to do then is sort of measure the efficiency of the outcomes realized and the value of an enterprise portfolio management solution based on Alphabet. The first value point that you immediately recognize is that you end up with an up-to-date application inventory with all the data in one place. So no longer do we have to go out and do data calls for discovering new applications. We've got it all integrated into a single repository. We have users that are responsible for those applications. And so we do our first run through the rationalization process. The second value point, as we go around the wheel, is that now we're connecting applications to technologies, to capabilities, to processes, and to organizations. And so the second value point now is that we're looking at a connected application inventory where we have integrated questionnaires into the tool set that help guide you through, scoring and assessing the applications. And then additional value points that you'll soon realize is that you get a data completeness metric across the entire agency. Imagine if you could day by day see these data completeness scores going from 50 to 60 to 61 to 62 to 73% accuracy. Not just across your application portfolio, but think about scoring and a data completeness score for your business process portfolio or your technology portfolios. The other things that we get within Alphabet are fast access to change history and audit logs so that we can see how these changes are made, the sort of the frequency of change and so forth, and who is actually making those changes. And then the best part of the Alphabet solution is leveraging these automated routines to keep the data accuracy high, to keep the decisions moving forward, and keeping the outcomes improving. I hope that this has introduced you to a capability today that if you want to find more about what we're doing with our Alphabet platform, is that we want you to know more about our FedRAMP offering. Give us a click here. You'll be taken to our FedRAMP link page. If you want to know more about how the platform works, email us and we'll talk to you about a test drive concept that we've been using over the last couple of years that has been very successful for getting customers the chance to get their hands on to the platform. And if you want to stay tuned for what we're doing to continue our support for these playbooks and application rationalization, give us an email, send us an email at info@softwareag.com. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a good event today.